October 18th agenda session. If I can get a motion on our minutes. Minutes have a motion and a second, and they will stand without objection. We have ordinances on final reading this evening. Are there any items under planning for final reading that council has changes for this evening? If I were to ask for a package on final reading and planning. Okay, you'll take a look at that. I do want to make one clarification from this morning. Karen, can you pop up here real quick and just make sure item E stuck out to me. Councilwoman Coonrod had made a motion to approve and an amendment with an additional condition. And I want to make sure that when we see recommended for denial by Planning Commission, that the approval.
That is correct.
First reading with the additional condition.
It is the approval of the staff recommended
Staff
version,
recommendation.
which has a fully developed use condition as number. Second condition on lot size and adds the third condition that Councilwoman Coonrod made a motion for, which is no accessory dwelling units.
Okay, and that is verified, bona fide?
That is, and I
All right.
confirm with Councilwoman Coonrod that was her motion, and I believe that it is accurately reflected in that ordinance.
Okay. Councilwoman Coonrod, are you okay there? Okay, just want to make sure because I know that item was amended. Moving into resolutions, if you would look through resolutions under community development. Finance, I don't think I see Mr. Goldberg. Oh, there he is. He's squatting down. We do have the number for the resolution. Thank you for that. It came in this morning. Councilwoman Hill, I believe you have that number.
I do.
For item E. So we will be looking for the amendment.
Would you like the number now?
It should be 31332.
Yeah,
You want to hit your
31.
light?
Yep. I'm hit. I'm on.
I don't know
Yes,
why.
the resolution number for item 31332, and I will make the request for an amendment during our meeting.
Very good. Thank you for taking that on. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. I'm probably going to read those. They're under finance. I think I might just read those individually. And then when we get to E, go through the proper amendment. Okay. Yeah, I just feel like that's, thank you. Under mayor's office, we have several appointments. If you'll take a look at those, to the beer and record board, and also plumbing examiners, gas, and mechanical. And we appreciate everybody who's willing to serve on these boards. That's a huge service to your community, and we appreciate you putting your name out there and willing to do this. So that will take us to the end of our ordinances and resolutions. If you would, look at purchases for this evening. We have 13. We did have 14. Mr. Goldberg, we had one that fell underneath the 50,000. So it was per our changes to purchasing. So we have 13. We have no emergency purchases, no RFPs this evening, and we have 2 contract renewals. Mr. Goldberg, is that correct?
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Seeing no lights on purchases, if you would take a look at your October 25th. Are you ready for this? Proposed agenda. Did you like that? All right. It didn't take long to set in. Proposed agenda. There we go. Any questions? On the west side of Volves plan, Mr. Freeman, are you presenting that next week?
No, sir. So that will actually come from RPA. So they'll do a shorter presentation, and then Betsy McWright and Eric Myers will be on hand to answer any questions. And then I guess it'll be open for public comment.
Okay, so Chattanooga Housing will be here along with the Design Center.
Yes, that's
Design
correct.
Studio. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Burrs. Yeah, we probably do need to set the time for that, since that is a public hearing. I'm going to take suggestions, but I'm going to suggest that we set the public hearing for 30 minutes
Okay.
with 3 minutes per speaker. If there's
Okay.
any objections to that, please let me know, or any other ideas. 2 minutes, council, 2 minutes, and a 30-minute time limit.
Got it.
Any objections to that? Motion, all right, then those will be our rules for the public hearing. Thank you, Dr. Burrs.
Thank you.
Make a note, 30 minutes. All right, very good. Moving on into ordinances on final reading. Public Works Planning on the 25th, if you would. I'm looking for any lights or questions. Mr. Freeman, we do have a deferred item, which is the tax increment. And thank you, I do see the alternate version.
Yes.
And you have sent out to council what the difference between the alternate version was
Yes.
from the original, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to take the opportunity? So if you would enlighten us on the difference between the alternate version and the original resolution.
Yes. So the best way that we sort of went about this was we wanted to look back at the original policy as it was adopted by the City Council in 2015, and then take the lessons that we've learned and worked on TIFs since 2015, and then apply them to a new updated policy that we thought would be beneficial for both the administration and the City Council. We would like to think of the policy as sort of a working document that that we should continue to strive to improve over time. As we learn and as we go forward and as we do economic development deals. What you'll see from the current version that's currently adopted to the first version is a great deal of cleanup of the TIF language just to sort of make it more apropos for today's time period. The version that you all adopted back in 2015 was largely adopted from the Knox County TIF policy. And so we took that policy and begun to make it really more appropriate to Chattanooga based on the work that we've done with the City Council over the past couple of years. So in addition to that, what we did was we put in clear. The TIF will only apply to real property, not incremental personal property taxes. That's an important distinction because, as Brent could tell you from his finance staff, it's very difficult to calculate personal property taxes or incremental personal property taxes. So, for the sake of simplicity, and of course that preserves revenue for the city, albeit little bits of revenue, personal property taxes will not be considered part of the regular increment that's calculated as part of a TIF. Only the incremental change in the real property taxes. In addition to that, what we did was we also inserted language that basically clarifies that the city has the ability and that you all have the ability to do TIFs for the city only, so that you all have the ability to move forward with a TIF that does not involve the county participation, and that the incremental property taxes that are made available are only city property taxes, not county property taxes. We also cleaned up and clarified the initial resolution of intent that you all vote on. That is tied to the definition of public infrastructure. So we brought the definition of public infrastructure and with the state's definition of public infrastructure, which gives the city council a little bit more flexibility. And then we also basically cleaned up the maximum term on TIFs. So currently you have this language that says that the maximum term of a TIF is 15 years, but under certain circumstances, it can be 20 years. We basically just made it 20 years to bring it in alignment with the state statute. And then in addition to that, we removed the prohibition against housing so that we can have as many tools in the toolbox as possible as we seek to fight for more affordable housing. Added requiring the applicant to sign an affidavit that says that the project can't move forward but for the TIF incentive and to provide additional documentation justifying the amount and the time period of the TIF. And we also added language that basically requires or that outlines process for seeking state approval from the comptroller and the ECD commissioner when state approval is required. We also increased the application fee from $1,500 to $8,000 to make it more in line with what we're seeing across the state. And then we increased the annual administrative fee from 25 basis 150 basis points. So for those who don't know what basis are, we went from 0.25% to 2.5%, which is pretty significant. And then we also added a disclosure that all applicants and principals involved in TIF applications must reveal whether or not they are currently involved in a civil or criminal proceeding, or if they've ever been charged or convicted of a felony, or are currently under indictment, or have ever filed for bankruptcy. And so those were essentially the changes in the first version. In the alternate version, we added some additional language that comes from the state's TIF Uniformity Act, as well as the state's Brownfield TIF provision. It just provides background information. It doesn't change the process at all. It just helps the city council understand some of that background information from the state statutes. And then we just added some clarifying language around the approval process for an economic impact plan. And so as we move forward, we will ask that the council vote on the alternate version. I will just note, though, as I was going back and looking at the alternate version, that we do need to make sure that the language about the disclosure of being involved in civil or criminal proceedings is added back into the alternate version. It looks like that got left out from version 1 to version 2.
So a couple things.
Yes, sir.
That needs to be, so in this alternate version that is online right now,
Right.
we're missing that component.
That is correct. That needs to be added.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me know when that's added
Okay.
because we need to make sure that's in there. Number two, and I see your light, Councilwoman Hill. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and defer to Councilwoman Hill.
Yes.
Just quick procedural question. Is the red line that we have the alternate version that you would like us to approve?
So you have the alternate version, and then you have the red lines from the original version to version 1. I don't think that you have the red lines from version 1 to the alternate version.
Okay, so I, for my own purposes, want to toss that and only see the alternate version red line. So if we could
Okay.
get that, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
Thank you.
you, Councilwoman. And you'll have that added
Yes.
component
Yeah, today.
today.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
What I heard, and that makes a lot of sense. It sounds like the TIF policy is coming more in line with state language, number one, but also putting in some more hurdles, raising the
Yes.
fees, kind of really raising the stakes, so to speak, when people come to it. But in the past, when you said affordable housing, the word pilot's always been attached to that, never TIF. So this opens up a new tool,
It does.
does it not?
It does. The way that the state's language actually reads around, let me go back and I can read it to you if you just give me 1 second to scroll through. So this, the way that the language reads from the state is that TIFs can be used for the development of multifamily housing for low to moderate income populations, as well as housing for senior citizens and handicapped persons. Of course, we say disabled now, but that's language that comes directly from the state statute.
Okay.
So that is our goal, to be able to use it for those purposes.
So we're bringing that online here.
Yes.
One last point, Jermaine, if you would explain the basis points a little bit further for me.
Sure. So that's significant. So let's say, for example, that the TIF increment in a given year is, let's say it's $100,000. So roughly at 0.25%, I believe that that would be what, $250, if I'm not mistaken, in terms of the annual administrative in terms of the annual administrative fee, 0.25%. So multiplied by 10, because it would now be 2.5%, it would go up from $250 to $2,500. So the annual administrative fees will all basically be multiplied by 10 going forward. And that's to bring our annual administrative fee closer in line to what the county does, because the county's administrative fee is significantly higher than the city's.
And the fee from 1,500 to 8,000,
Yes.
does that fee go directly to the general fund?
I'll have to double check that, because I believe that it's actually paid to the IDB, but I'll double check that for clarification.
Okay, I'm just curious on where
Yeah.
the fee went. That's not a major hurdle for me. I just would
Okay.
like to have that in my back of my head.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Council, any other questions regarding the TIF changes? They're quite substantial. I do know that a lot of work has been done to align us more with what the state says, but also adding in some, I think, some much needed
Yes.
clarifications, but
I th-
also, go ahead.
I think our goal was to make the TIF policy predictable and understandable and as easy to understand and to follow as possible without causing too much difference between the state and our local government, but then also to make sure that we do have some teeth in it, because they, as you all know, they require a lot of work and they require a lot of staff time. So
That they do, that they do. Jermaine, thank you. I see no other lights, so appreciate the questions and the
Yes.
answers to those. Moving on to IT for October 25th in the proposed agenda. Parks and Outdoors and Public Works, which I believe some of these items will be covered in committee today. So, okay. Next, council, if you would look at future considerations in your packet and hit your light if you have any questions on future considerations, please. Under economic development, we have items regarding Head Start, home repair program, technology services, which was a rather large dollar amount if you'll pay special attention to. And I don't, there it is. A little bit about that. You're going to help us out with a one sheet Cliff Notes version so we can understand that quickly.
Yeah, I sent you a verbose email, but I can
Okay.
describe it now or.
Yeah. No, we'll hold that because I know we have a committee to run through, but I do appreciate that and you jumping on that rather quickly because that's a rather large dollar amount. I think council will be interested in hearing details. Parks and Public Works, we have skate park. Scott, anything on that?
Yes, sir.
Good. All right. And something about reindeer. Okay. Very good. That will cover. We have no department reports, so there's no other business for tonight and next week's proposed agenda. We will go ahead and move into our Parks and Public Works Committee. And I know that Councilman Hester is not available today and will be with us at 6. So I'll go ahead and call the Parks and Public Works Committee into session. If I can get a motion on the minutes, please. Have a motion for the minutes. They will stand without objection. Who's presenting today? Bill? Scott? All right, ordinances on first reading. Madam Clerk, public.
Ordinance closing and abandoning a pedestrian easement located at 715 Market Street as detailed on the attached map, subject to certain conditions.
Okay. Don't everybody rush to the podium at once there. Resolutions, I'm seeing no lights, Bill, so far you're in good shape. Under Public Works, item P, please.
A resolution amending resolution number 31109 for geoenvironmental consulting and material testing services contract number E21002-301 to increase the estimated amount by $950,000 due to additional contract utilization at Fire Station 15, Fire Station Bay floor, and driveway apron replacement, river bank stabilization for sanitary sewer interceptor, Lynbrook Park, Jack Benson Park parking lot, Batters Place Pickleball Courts, Low Barrier Housing, EV charging stations, North Lee Highway Culvert Replacement, Enterprise South Industrial Park, Brainerd Levy Parks, ADA sidewalk compliance for a revised contract amount of $1.7 million.
Thank you for that. Scott, you sure you don't want to talk about Batters Place pickleball courts? Okay, I'll talk about it all day. Seeing no lights, item Q, please.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to approve change order number 1 with Pavement Technology, Inc. to reconcile final quantities for contract number T20-011 asphalt rejuvenation services associated with citywide pavement management for an increase in the amount of $23,635.60 for a revised contract amount of $249,100.
All right. Seeing no lights, Bill, you're off the hook there. Resolutions, Parks and Outdoors, item G, please.
A resolution for the City of Chattanooga to apply for and if awarded, accept a grant award of $200,000 from the Lyndhurst Foundation for the architectural and landscape improvements to the Phil Grimes Outdoor Chattanooga building.
All right. Still seeing no lights. Back to Public Works. Item H, please.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to approve change order number 1 with Garney Companies, Inc. of Nashville, Tennessee for contract W12026-203 DuPont Pump Station and Basin Improvements, Phase 2, Contract B, to reconcile the current contract for railroad crossing flagman requirements, bypass pumping for an increase in the amount of $442,012.98 for a revised contract amount of $4,758,532.98, authorizing a new contingency in the amount of $100,000 for a total amount of $4,858,500.
Very good. It's a almost $5 million upgrade to DuPont in District 2. Councilwoman Hill, no questions? All right. Very good. I hear you. All right. Just want to make sure you didn't want to defer that or had any. Oh, okay. I just want to make sure. Item I, please.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to execute the consent to assignment to all purchase orders for vendor number 867412, Wood and Infrastructure Solutions, Inc., to WSP USA Environment and Infrastructures, Inc., relative to the following purchase orders. On-call blanket contractors for resident project representative services, contract number E20001401. Purchase order numbers 559785, 5597851, 5503762, and 5503763. Transportation Assessment Plant Contract Number T20007. Purchase Transportation Assessment Management Plan Contract Number T2007. Wait, I just read that. Okay, sorry. Purchase Order Number 557783. Professional Services. Wastewater Capital Improvements, Contract Number W18001, Purchase Order Number 550376, Pump Station Improvements, Hickson 2, Purchase Order Number 5503762, Lookout Creek Sewer Basin Master Plan, Purchase Order Number 63, and Modeling and Floodplain, Contract Number S200040101, Purchase Order Number 561264. That's what
Bill,
I'm saying.
anything to add on this item?
I think that says it all.
It sure did. Right. And I'm seeing no lights on the board. Do you need a second? Item J.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to the on-call blanket contract number W22006-201, sanitary sewer installment and repair blanket contract number for wastewater for year 1 of 4 to Tally Construction Company of Rossville, Georgia, for the use by all departments for the annual amount of $2 million.
Seeing no lights. Item K, please.
A resolution authorizing the administration. I'm gonna start over. A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to award contract number E22019-201, City Council Chamber modifications to John Bryan Construction LLC of Chattanooga, Tennessee, in the amount of $94,362 with a $10,500 contingency for a total amount of $104,862.
All right. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Seeing no lights, no questions. That will take us to the end of our committee meeting. Are there any questions or concerns council needs to bring before we adjourn till 6? Ryan,
Yes,
you have a question or a concern?
I did not have a question or concern, but I did have something. We're hoping to give a very brief update, if it pleases. the
We
chair.
have the time, and I apologize, I did not see that in my packet.
That's okay. It's not in your packet. Just wanted to give, with it being leaf season, Ricky Colson to come up and just speak a little bit to how we're approaching leaf pickup this fall, just for awareness. So, Ricky, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. It should
Anytime
be-
we could help information get out there,
Should be short.
we're okay.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Colson, how are you, sir?
Doing well, sir. How's everyone doing?
Good, good.
Yes, sir. Our plan is just like last year, we plan on picking up leaves beginning November the 1st, and this will be on request. We'll put this out as a press release the 24th of this month, and then we'll start taking service requests, and those will be collected, and then we'll route those out with trucks. 4 or 5 trucks because it'll be slow to begin with, and then we will probably increase in a couple of weeks after that up to 10, 12 trucks in service.
So I'm assuming 311 will be the proper way to ask for leaf pickup?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And we'll run November 1st until the end of December, and then our plan is to start running routes after that, going into all the communities.
Okay. And for those of you following online, an SR is a service request.
Yes, sir. Yes,
That's
sir.
assigned a number through 311.
Yes, sir. That is correct.
Very good. Do you know if you will post certain neighborhoods or areas of the city so that folks can maybe plan to rake their leaves and get them out there in time?
We have not planned on doing that for the service request the first couple of months because that's when most of our pickup is.
Mhm.
But we can post signs in January to let them know that we're going to be in those areas.
Okay. And where would one go on our city website to reach out and get more information on leaf pickup?
And this would be on our city webpage.
On the city webpage, go to Public Works?
Yes, sir. Public Works.
Okay.
And this information will be there.
Very good.
And then we'll also put this information out, social media, the newspaper, other things too.
I tell you what, if you don't mind, can we add that, Madam Clerk, to the city council website page? I think a link there for leaf pickup would be most helpful. I know that'll be a popular request coming up very
Yes, sir.
soon. Yes. All right. Councilwoman Hill, I do see your light.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to repeat back to you what I understood you to say. For the by request leaf pickup, you are going to do a sweep of the whole city in chunks.
Yes, ma'am. That's correct. We will begin that in January.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So if some neighbor has never called 311 and their leaves are in the gutter, they're going to be picked up.
Yes,
in
ma'am, that's
January.
correct. And this
Okay.
is a way for us also to, we will run areas where there are homes to maybe collect it so that it doesn't go into our drainage system. So this is
Excellent.
another way to pick those up.
Okay.
That's a good point.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Councilwoman, for that question. Okay. That's good news.
Yes,
We'll
sir.
post it on our page as well and make sure if anybody has questions. If you want them picked up early, call 311,
Yes, sir, that's correct. And we'll start picking up November 1st.
November 1st.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic.
All right.
Any other business to come before council before we adjourn till 6?
Thank you.
We are adjourned till 6.